Welcome back to Next Level Rides. So on today's video, what we're going to show you is how to repair a bumper once you've had a bit of a mishap. Whether you've hit a parking block, you've been at a drift event. In this particular case, I ended up jumping the kart on a frozen lake. So corner of the bumper fell off and needs to be repaired. So stay tuned. I'm going to show you how to get it done, and pretty straightforward, pretty easy. Let's get to it. So first thing to note, I've already kind of put this end piece on just because it needed two hands. So essentially what I've done is I've drilled two holes and put a zip tie through it. Now I always put the zip tie on the inside because once it's all said and done, it's going to look a little bit better. And starting at the bottom, you can see where I've done the exact same thing. So two pilot holes, a zip tie on the inside. Now 2-3 zip ties in, you'll actually notice just down here where I've crossed them. I've done this for many years, and the reason I do this is for lateral support. So what I've found is rather than a bunch of pressure being pushed right onto the corner of it, it'll actually keep it stable. Whether that's logic or that's me just overthinking it, it's what I've done. So I think it's worked out pretty good. So I'm going to continue with putting this piece back on, and I'm going to show you how to get it fixed. Okay, so after doing the inside, just because it's going to be a lot easier, we'll start with the outside. So in a lot of cases, you won't actually have a big chunk like this missing. I tried to fix it kind of when I was at the ice track, but of course, for some reason, I didn't bring duct tape, which was pretty foolish of me. And this is, it seems like some sort of polycarbonate almost, so it's not the easiest to drill. Otherwise, you would be able to get, say, a drill bit or a nail of some sort. You heat it up, and you just poke it through. So I tried twice. It wasn't working. It just spidered all over. And yeah, we'll have to reinvent the wheel. As you can see, maybe on the camera, there's a crack that's beginning down here. So what we want to do is we just want to strengthen it up. So what I'm likely going to do is I'm going to put zip tie here, and a zip tie here, down here, put a zip tie there. Now you want enough material so that when you end up drilling holes and you pull the zip tie, that it's going to be nice and rigid, so it's not going to break easily. So here, now for this one here, because it's intersecting, you can actually see where the crack goes down and then a piece of it takes off there. So this is a perfect example of why I would end up crossing it here. So cross it here, so it's going to pull both ends in, and you don't need to worry about the zip ties breaking or it taking off on you. Then of course you can see this crack here goes all the way along here, so it stops there. So we're going to do one of these. Now what might be good practice, and I may end up doing it with this, is right at the end of the crack, what you would want to do is you want to pilot a hole so that it doesn't continue to crack. So right here where it ends up ending right there, sometimes you would put a little dot here, pilot the hole, and then you know that the crack won't continue up and around and you won't have a big piece missing, because this one very well could continue and crack all the way to the bottom. In this case, I don't know if I'm going to pilot the hole yet. If I do, it'll be a tiny little drill bit and the tiniest little hole. You're barely going to notice it, and it's going to work out pretty good. So I'll continue making dots and we'll get started with the repair. All right, so I'm going to start piloting the holes. Now, you do have a couple of options as to what size zip ties you want to use. For this one, because I don't want it to be too obvious, I'm going to use smaller zip ties. Now, this is just from the dollar store. It's like a Duramax brand, but I know these are good and strong zip ties. If you get a cheap zip tie, and part of the reason why I put the ends on the inside other than cosmetic is when you pull on them really hard, I don't know if you've ever had it happen, but if a zip tie breaks and you punch yourself in the mouth, it leads to you having a pretty bad day. So put it on the inside, pull away from yourself, don't smack your teeth out, and go from there. Okay, so you can kind of see what we're aiming for. So it's actually quite a bit rigid now, and that's only a few zip ties. So it's a lot stronger. Up top here, I'll have to continue. Now, there's no exact science behind this. Of course, I put the dots kind of plotting it out, but now that I put a few zip ties, less appears to be more in this case. So what I'll probably do is I'll clean off the red dots and kind of minimize how many zip ties I'm using, and it's actually turning out pretty good. Double shot Starbies brake. So there you have it. There's no exact science behind this. Basically, grab yourself a drill, zip ties, decent cutters, and kind of go to town. Of course, there's many variations. Other people will do this differently. The biggest thing I noticed is put the crosses in because it actually pulls the pieces together and keeps it pretty rigid. So that ain't going nowhere. You could even hit it with your purse. So that's it. Pretty simple, straightforward. The damage happened. I'm sure everybody's going to be pissed off when it does, but at the end of the day, it happens, and you try to make the best of it. So have a little bit of fun. Again, no exact way that you need to be doing this. Just do your thing and go from there. So again, feel free to like and subscribe. See you guys on the next one. Done!